All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have this is a special show that we are having today. We have a special guest on our show. Uh, he's no stranger to the economic world or the financial world. We have a guest that I just partnered up with his organization, and we're going to hear from him in a minute. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Hillman Muhammad. I come to you from the Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama, which is soon to be known as the Courage to Change Now. Uh, what we have today is the news hour. We're going to do newscasts every day for the next upcoming 2 weeks, interviewing different guests from different professionals. The Courage to Change Now is a movement that's going on, and the Courage to Change News Hour, coming from our news studio here in Huntsville, is to promote entrepreneurs or assetpreneurs that are in the world or in the market in the black community to bring about some change in our economic development. You know, every political season we have politicians come into our neighborhood and they see that it needs help, and they promise an economic development program that's geared towards our community. But we haven't seen this yet. Dr. Martin Luther King started this movement back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and we haven't seen too much with our community. We know, and we want to really heartfelt shout out to all of those that are feeling the discomfort of this crisis that I think is being overhyped by the media. But Courage to Change Now News Hour is going to bring you some soothing relief to that crisis and show you how you could prosper during this time of social distance, staying at home. But we're going to introduce to you something today that has a home based business attached to it. And one of the things that we have to understand is that the Courage to Change Now is not a radical movement, but it's a necessary voice that our community is liking. Again, my name is Hillman Muhammad. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Wall Street, and also the creator of the Courage to Change Now. I just want to tell you a little about why this is necessary. I've been in the organization industry or circle in our community since 1972. We used to have access to the media, local media, and all of that until just recently. Now they have shut out community advocate like myself and all those that are working for the community. They cut off our access to our community, so therefore they don't hear our voice and we don't hear their voice. So what we set up this Courage to Change News Hour is to present. Now, we have a news director that's 25 years old, and this is what we want to promote: young people from 20 to 25 understanding how to mount this platform and bring about news that is worthy to our community, news that is worthy to the world, and to show that we have some industrial people among us. Now, the guest that I have on today, I'm gonna let you see his face right now. I'm gonna bring him on, but I want to introduce him the right way. And he's a brother that I've known. In fact, I met him in Miami back in October of 2018 from a mutual friend of ours. And when I went down to Miami for the unveiling of our ATM machine, I thought about this brother because we had worked together. He brings about an organization. He's a doctor of finance. He's a doctor of finance for over 25 years. And his heart, his passion is to see our community living like we are people of God and supposed to be living. So we've been in. He's a part of Carrot Bars International, as I am. He's a VIP in Caribas, so I'm proud to have him as a partner now in his organization, which is Joe. I'm a worker because you put some words together, but his name is Dr. Joe Webb, and he's the co-founder of Black Wealth Consortium. I hope I said that right, but for the lack of the twist term that I have to employ to say that over and over again, I'm going to just say the acronym for that is BWC. And I want to introduce Brother Joe, and I want to just let him introduce himself to the world. Brother Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Make sure I get these buzz. Okay,
that's
great.
Dr. Joe, I should say. Dr. Joe.
Appreciate that, brother Hillman. Appreciate that. I just want to just thank you for this opportunity to share and to share what we've done in our brotherhood over the years, and to talk about what we should be focusing on now, and that is ourselves. That is ourselves as a people. And I just want a slight tweak to the intro there. Yes, I am a doctor. My doctorate is in divinity, but my divinity specialty is the financial gospel. Amen,
Okay.
somebody. That's why
Okay.
I teach it
Amen.
from the 90%. Yes, I teach it from the 90% perspective in what I do, in teaching us that it is about the 90, because if the 90 was well, his 10 wouldn't be a problem. But we know that's another topic. I'll get on that another time. But here I am here today representing Black Consortium, as his brother Hillman eloquently put it, Black Wealth Consortium or BWC. We are an organization. We did form in 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, December 2017. We came together at a real estate conference. Here's the power behind this, my brothers and sisters. Just want to get right to it. The power behind this, we were at an event. Prior to that, me and my wife took a course on how tax liens indeed work, and we learned from that process gentrification. We learned it
Wow.
firsthand how it works, I know I'll be back. I'm gonna tell you this though. It's a business that we need to learn more about. We're just having the business taken to us instead of understanding how that works. So we came together. We took this course and initially became discouraged because we saw what was going on, just like in community where you are, Brother Hillman, and in all communities throughout the United States. We see a shift taking place when it comes to real estate, a shift taking place where we're being disenfranchised, moved from our communities, but not understanding. I understand the emotional part of it, but not understanding the business part of it. Now I'm going to come back to where I met the initial group in 2017 at a real estate conference. The issue we're having here in Miami is the Hispanics are moving into the communities, and we as a people are being gentrified. So we took this course with the hopes of being able to do this. Became a little discouraged when we saw the whole process, but it was this meeting in Las Vegas, in 2017, where we were among 600 people that were there at this meeting, all over the United States, that understand this process when it comes to tax liens, how to acquire properties that way, and of course the business of gentrification. So now we're at this meeting. There's 600 people there, Brother Hillman. Of those 600 people, there might have been 23, four of us. Not even
Wow.
5% of whom was us. We were hardly there. But we were there for about, I believe the conference was for 3 or 4 days. And by the second, third day, us 23 started noticing each other. And you know how we do. We check each other
Yeah.
out from
Yeah.
afar. We really shouldn't do that. We really should be going right and shaking hands, but we do that. We tend to sit back and check each other out. And I'll never forget it. It was on lunchtime the second day. I told my wife, I said, we going to shake some hands. We're going to meet some people. We had already shaken hands amongst all the other people. Now I'm here to tell you also, brothers and sisters, that when you're in a room like that, it's green. Your color green. That's your
Yes.
color. So we must understand that as well. So in that room, we met all different people of all likes. Had talked to some people that are doing business in Texas, some people that are doing business here in Tampa. What did that do for us? It took us out of our comfort zone of doing business in other states because we just wanted to focus on our home front, which was a challenge and it's still challenges here, but we are overcoming those challenges. Let me get back. Let me get back here. So now, by the second, third day, we're talking to each other, And that's how I met Bev, which I'm sure she'll be on here sometime. She's the president of
Yes.
our organization, Black Wealth Consortium. Met her, and then we went from there. We met in Birmingham. That's how we ended up in Alabama. Met in Birmingham, and we mapped this whole thing out and put it all together. And here we are going into our third year, Black Wealth Consortium. And
Yes.
here, oh, I didn't even get you. I didn't tell you the caveat. Now I told you there was 23 people that met there in Las Vegas of the 600 people. But here's the power behind all that, Brother Hillman. We didn't know each other. We met each other there. No one there knew who each other were. We met there, but it was the power of like-mindedness, the power of passion and wanting to make change, and coming together for that being the purpose, and getting all that emotional stuff that tends to get in the what's getting ahead out of the way. We formed this group with 20 individuals from 6 different states. That's how we formed it.
Yes, yes. Well, Brother Joe, I looked up the word or the purpose of consulting. It
Oh
says
yes,
here
oh
is
yes,
an alliance company, individuals or other entities that got together to achieve a special objective. The objective benefit all the parties. Example is a lobbying for regulation change, bidding on a large project, or increasing partners' purchasing power to get better deals. And I was on a stream, I mean, a meeting, a Zoom meeting with you and your group, and I brought some of the team from Black Wall Street on last night, and they had a
yes,
chance to see all of I mean, not all, but a majority of your different, I would say, entities or different asset with the asset, different. I'm trying to find that word, initiative, different initiative
yes,
in different areas. And brother, you have a lot of professionals with you. You have a lot of professionals from different walks of life. I mean, different training in academic and professional, which is something that Black Wall Street want to be a part of, want to do, because we have a platform with Black Wall Street where we invite other companies, other nonprofit, other professional, other service, because we have a lot of professionals in throughout the United States. But we like this. Once, as you said, when you went to that
yes,
conference, no, you guys didn't know each other. Then you got like this. Now you are
yes.
like this, which is a power that I am proud to be a part of, and proud for you to see value in Black Wall Street with our initiative, Courage to Change Now. And I just want you, brother, Dr. Joe, to feel comfortable. And I'm going to have someone put your website, if you don't mind, on
Oh
the
no, please,
in the
spread
chat
the good news.
box.
Yes,
Okay, so they could go
yes.
directly and see what all you have to offer. But go ahead and talk, because this, I invited you as a guest because I want to learn more, and I want the individuals that's on this stream to see the newsworthy content that Black Wall Street, through the Courage to Change News Hour, have for them in store for them.
Oh
It's
yeah, powerful stuff here. So yeah, I'll go ahead and lay out pretty much. You know, we met in Birmingham. This was back in January of 2018, and we mapped this whole thing out, and we came up with our purpose, mission, and vision. And it reads as such: the purpose is to revitalize Black communities by leveraging asset collaboration, generational wealth building. So of course, all this stemmed from real estate and us understanding that today we own less land today we did 100 years ago, and there's a reason behind that. You mentioned some things here when it came to the whole ideal. Martin Luther King's ideology was about equality, but we took it for integration. So when we integrated into other communities, and we left our communities, we left our large patches of land, and then what we also took our talents to these other communities. When we took our talent to other communities, we created jungle in the communities that we currently inhabit, unfortunately. And with that, we're killing off each other, and we're devaluing the property, and the opportunists are getting our property at pennies on the dollar.
right,
So the revitalization is we're going to come back to our communities and revitalize them. But guess what? The community starts within you. are the community. We are our people. We are our person. So we started this idea of going in there physically, but then we realized that we need to revitalize each individual's community of themselves. How about the community of me and what I'm about, and the community of you, brother him, and what you're about, and that I must love you and what you're about in order for us to make it. So,
Yes,
so, so that,
yes.
that's where that starts. So the revitalization took a shift to where let's work on each other's households. Let's work on each other's community, revitalize it, so then we have the power to actually go in there and make a difference in our community. So that's where that whole revitalization took place. And how about collecting the right assets? The assets that we can actually pass on, the assets that'll actually accrue and grow in value, and not valuing these things that we buy that devalue themselves and can't be passed on, and go from being consumers to producers.
Right.
So we took that into it, and also you could pass on things that are value to create that generational wealth instead of having every generation start from zero. That's our other plight. You're starting from zero, y'all. So if
Hmm.
you start from zero, can you feel the struggle of starting from zero and then the next generation starting from zero? We're now dealing with a situation where we have individuals coming behind us that have less than we have today. And that is a travesty to have less. So the less creates the jungle, creates the self-esteem issues, creates the lack of love for one another. All those things go. So we bring you in where you are, and we don't know what your whiffum is. And if you have a whiffum, if you don't know what that is, that's what's in me.
Yes.
Our focus on you first. We want to get your whiffum, get you together so that you can be of good for your family and your community. So the community starts with yourself coming to our community. We definitely bring open arms in the process, and then we go and take you through our training. Our training. I don't even call it secret sauce, but it is the recipe. Take you through our training that'll develop your mindset, that'll develop you in the things you want to have, teaching you to be a producer, teaching you to love yourself so that you
Hmm.
can love your brothers and your sisters, to make a difference. Now look at that as a recipe for revitalizing the community.
Yes.
And that's all. And that was all our purpose. I ain't even got to the mission yet. It was
Well,
just the purpose.
oh, brother, it's right in line. This is why I hurried and came and became a part one to know more. Although we talked about this in 2018, but I wasn't ready.
Yes.
But I was happy a few weeks ago when you contacted me and let me know that you had continued. In fact, I had a conversation with you right at the Let's Go weekend, on my way to Let's Go weekend in 2019.
Yes.
We had about a 2 hour conversation while I was riding,
Yes.
and I said, Joe, soon as I get my business straight, we're going to work together. And this is a fulfillment, because what it is, we have to stop being so competitive and understand the value
That's
of being creative, because God has placed within
oh man.
us. When it was asked, where is this kingdom? And we hear you're a doctor of divinity. But the kingdom that Jesus spoke of, when it was asked, where is that kingdom? And you just alluded to it. It's
That's
within
right.
you
That's
to
right.
build
The
it.
king.
Take an
That's right.
example, Black Wall Street, where I get my name from for my organization. These young people came up from slavery right after I'd say the Emancipation Proclamation in the
Proclamation.
late
That's right.
1800s, and they didn't get the 40 acres and the mule. They didn't get the 100 or the 150, because it changes, but it doesn't make any difference because they didn't get it. But they still got together, not just in Tulsa. Tulsa is the most recorded one for documentation,
Right.
but it
That's
was
right.
Black
There's
Wall
still
Street in
60 of
60,
them. It was 60 other Black Wall Street.
at least
Yep.
60
Yes.
cities that had a thriving Black Wall Street.
Yes.
But here in Tulsa, we
That's right.
read and see about 35 square blocks of businesses, with over 300 businesses included in that 35 blocks, that they started with zero, just with themselves and the knowledge
Yes.
that God had placed within them to provide for them and their family, and created wealth. When I look at that picture, that slide, that one slide I show all the time, I look at all those fine cars lined up in there. And they said, Dr. Joe, that a dollar took 100 days or more to come out of that community, whereas today, because we are consumers, it takes about 6 hours. 6 hours to leave our
Exactly.
community and
Exactly.
go into some other community. So the purpose of the Courage to Change News Hour is to showcase that is behind the scene, the story behind the story, because there's a story that needs to be told with such a creative people as we are, to be living in poverty as we are. And as Dr. Martin Luther King said in his last speech, how much time you got?
Go ahead. Let's talk. Let's
Okay,
talk. Go
Dr.
ahead.
Martin Luther King said in his last speech that it was only nine other nations richer than us if we was to call ourselves a nation, and that means at that time I think it was $32 billion annual income coming into the black community. Now it's 1.3 to 1.10 trillion dollars. So something has to be
Yes.
wrong. We still richer than nine other. I mean, richer. I mean, it's only nine other nations richer than us if we was united. But we got to figure
Yes.
out, Joe. This is why the story behind the story has to be told, and nobody's going to tell that story like us. Why is it that? And then not only tell the story, but fix the problem. Just a few weeks ago, our government out of thin air with the drop of a hat pulled $2.2 trillion from somewhere for a crisis. Our neighborhood's been in a crisis for years, and they seem not to have the money but the promise. So we have to address that. And I'll tell you, this is the right place for you to be, for you to
Yes.
air and tell the world that we are not what is being projected. We just got
That's right.
somebody with a foot on us, on our neck and on our back, and we just got to stand up like you and your organization is doing. So back to you, bro. I just want to drop that out.
Yes. Oh no, no, that's and that actually leads into our mission. Is yeah, we must come together and we get educated to make a difference. So our mission is to provide education assistance in creating family enterprises for communities. It's as much as it is a challenge with housing our communities, it's also a challenge with businesses. And as you spoke on the dollar circulation within our communities, and the fact that our dollar doesn't even stay in long enough to take a break because we're in traffic. Sometimes it takes us 2 hours back and forth traffic to get home. So we're in and out, and we're leaving our community, right? But a 6 hour deal. So the challenge is there also because there's no business entities in our communities. So we have to shop in other communities, and when we do that, the dollar leaves our community and goes into other communities. So we
Yes.
have that as a challenge, and then here's two other pieces. So the businesses in our communities are owned by people that don't like us, and a lot of them are other countries. So we go in that corner store, we spend that dollar. That dollar's going to Asia, it's going somewhere in the Far East, in the Middle East. It's leaving us and the country. What a travesty, because not a dime of that is being put back. But here's the other thing that we must take a look at. How come we don't own those businesses? Here's why
Yes.
we don't own those businesses. Because of all the other ethnicities out there, we're the only one that have to be begged to work together.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We're the
And,
only one. So,
yeah.
so, so if we own those businesses without the mindset, we won't shop in them anyway. Everyone else shopping them, but when someone else owned it, for some reason, the ice is much better. I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand it.
Yes, yes. But that's a great mission, and really and truly, that should be the mission of all professionals, all people that have business, all
Yes.
organizations. Because another great travesty that's in our community, and I'm going to say this, if someone could prove me wrong, but I came into some knowledge by some knowledgeable people about our black churches and organizations that's taking money out of our community and placing it by Sunday or Monday in the big banks that's financing their community, and we are taking that money
Yes.
and says it's God's money, which is all good and done, but don't drop it in somebody else's institution. As you said, we could get together. We got
Yes.
enough financial people in our world of blacks
Oh yes.
that can develop at least a credit union, whereas we could
Oh,
loan
you don't,
monies
hey, don't
to
get me
each
excited on
other
that.
to develop
Yes.
our community. Take $9 billion every week. that don't come back into our community. If those figures are wrong, you do your research, because I'm going on a trusted leader in the community that shared that with me. But
Yes.
so if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. But if that is the
Either way,
case,
either
if that
no,
is the case, it's because of there's a spiritual weakness, it's a spiritual deficiency in us to not to know that God is the author of all of our activity. And if we just come together in God's name, regardless to the different division that we have been placed in, we are one from God. It's only one God, and we all say we came from Him. So let's go back to Him and stop blaming a man that's been in office less than 4 years for all of our dissatisfaction. Now that's immature. But the whole thing of it is, instead of blaming somebody, why not look at yourself as the responsible party to do that? And this is what I applaud your organization, and I applaud those that have come aboard with Black Wall Street to help change that scenario or that narrative. Go ahead, Joe.
yes, no, no, we have to come together. We have to, and I'm gonna just touch on this as far as reparations. We're not ready for reparations
Yes.
because we have together. I don't want to get up people upset when you look at some of the other ethnicities that have received reparations, even groups, LGBT have received reparations. People get upset, and it is a sad situation. However, we're not organized enough to receive reparations. All we do if we got reparations now is give it right back. We
Yes.
give it right back. So we need to be positioned to do. And the thing with the churches, yes, you're right. The churches are the number one depositor on Mondays. Will apply for a loan on Tuesdays and get turned down by Wednesday, over and over again. So
Wow.
we must come together with that piece as well. I'm glad to hear you talk about that. I know we hadn't discussed this, but I do. That is one of our things that we're looking to do, and we do it sooner than later with more like-minded individuals like yourself coming on board. But I have access. Hear this out here. The Courage to Change Network. Hear this. I have the ability to set up a credit union. It requires a little finance to get it set up, but I have a person that has I call it credit union in a box. So we can
Yes.
definitely get that done as one of our initiatives sooner than later. Just hearing you talk about that and getting that thing in place so that our dollars start to circulate amongst ourselves and we start doing things for ourselves and our people. So I'm going to go into the vision here,
Yes.
for time's sake here. So the vision is to build a network of 100,000 Black family enterprises by December 2025, launching a venture capital firm to capitalize Black-owned businesses. Kind of spoke on that in the mission, but the mission is to educate you, to empower you to be in a position to have one of these businesses capitalized by 2025, because that is the key. We need to be taking businesses in the communities. We need to be a part of those strip malls that are being built right outside your community, so that our dollars start to circulate amongst ourselves. We need to be strategic and purposeful when it comes to those things, because if we just focus on housing and we're not a part of the businesses that are so our communities, we're all we doing is putting a band-aid for the next generation
Yes.
not to have, not to have. So that is there on the board. We look forward to this. Hillman, I'm excited that with us, and we've been dialoguing and talking over the last couple of years. You knew about this well, actually years ago when we were a part of another network that
Right.
provided the literacy, but we've just taken it to a whole other level. And we're all about not just providing education, but about nurturing through the process.
Right.
We're all about helping you here with them in the process, and then we're all about pushing you through the process. So we're
Yes.
here with you to empower you and to make change within, that you can make change within your family and of course within your community.
Yes, because this was the original intent, and I bear witness to all that you said, Joe. Because I call you Joe because we know each other.
Oh
I know
yeah,
you're
no,
a
no,
doctor,
that's no,
but you
that's
you
all
have
good.
already
It's all
warned me
good.
about that. We brothers,
Yeah,
and,
that's
and
right.
one of the things that education is at the forefront before reparation, because
That's right.
education will prepare us for correction. And that's what reparation is supposed to be, to repair us. But reparation is not for individuals. We went into slavery as a
Yeah.
group. And in 1865, 1866, when the first civil rights bill was introduced, and Byron Allen really brought that to my attention in his fight against Comcast. He went back to the original civil right that only mentioned the ex-slaves. We're the only one that really is do that because of our sojourn of over 400 years here. So then the other civil rights bill came and included some of the people that you mentioned that has gotten reparation. So right now we
Yes.
need to focus, go back to that 1866, and talk about us and talk about the need for education before reparation. We got to educate
I like
because
that.
brain power equals economic development. I just want to take a minute. John F. Kennedy, when he ran for president, he ran on a platform of wanted America to go to the moon. And when he won, he came to Huntsville, and of all places, because there was some German scientists here that was working for the Defense Department here. And this is why Huntsville is so rich now. And he asked one of the leading scientists, Warner von Braun, what would it take to build a contraption that would take our people to the moon and back safely? And Mr. von Braun answered, the will to do it. And you know, the will is wrapped up in God's mind and God's plan, original plan. He said the will to do it. But then later on, he went before the Alabama state legislature and asked them for $3 million so they could move a campus from the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa to Huntsville for a special curriculum there where he dealt with technology. And that $3 million in 1961, fast forward to 2020, it brings 20 to 40 billion dollars a year in income through that technology center that the University of Alabama Huntsville has produced. So what I'm saying now, I use that as a preload to getting us some funding so we could re-educate our people. We need to change the curriculum because we went to school for the three R's. We left the S's out: the self-esteem, the self-value, the self-motivation, the self. It's about self. Going back to the kingdom is within you. But we have to be educated, re-educated, because as Malcolm said, how can you expect a man that never treated you right to teach you right? And in the Constitution, it don't even state that they are responsible for educating our people, for educating no one. This is our responsibility. When they took God out of the school, the religious people, the people that understand the value of connecting their youth to God in school, in the educational system, they started with private school. We have not moved to that yet, uh, for whatever reason. But we need a new curriculum. We need to rewrite the books because I have statistic that shows that in the middle school we are losing in the ground for higher education with 3% in math, 20 some percent in English. That's not the roadmap for success. That's the roadmap to the prison industrial and to the graveyard through the funeral homes. And that's what we are seeing a lot of with our young people. And this is why I have
Yeah.
targeted the 20 to 25, 26-year old black men and women. And later on, we're going to bring other groups in, but self first. Charity
That's right.
begins at home. Okay, Brother Joe, I
Right.
just wanted to drop that out.
I no, I love your isms here. Treat you right versus teach you right. That's powerful there. Yeah, treat you right. Why would they teach you right?
Yes.
If you all get a chance to, I want to put this out there. It is a video that we use, and it'll get into more. I'm going to actually give a premise here on how deep it is. So the video is called "Are You a Connector?" That's
Yes.
what it is. A YouTube video called "Are You a Connector?"
I've seen that.
And what the video seen it, oh my
Yes.
goodness. So it talks about the how the industrial revolution bamboozled in a time of people during that time. But here's the catch that I want you to get to it. So that was one thing to show you that as far as where we've gone and as we're going into the information age. but that test was done back in, was it 1918 or 19 something, was somewhere in the teens during that time as the Industrial Revolution was
Mm-hmm.
coming. But we weren't even access. We didn't have access to that till about 20, 30 years later. So can
Yes.
you see how much further behind we were? We're trying to get to that piece where they had bamboozled a generation for the Industrial Revolution, but we came in later, and now that whole system is not even, like you said, set up right. It eliminated creative thinking,
Yes.
and so we bought into that later, and our creativity is totally lacked as a people, let alone the millennials themselves, which I'm definitely excited about you taking on that group, because when you have a Google and information in your hand, you don't have the ability to critically think, to think things through, and we get taken by things at the drop of a line on what is it, Instagram or
Come
anywhere.
on.
We just get taken. So no critical thinking, no
Right.
thinking through a process and understanding how these things work. And this is what we purposely do as we do a mindset shift within the platform, a visioning a session where we're taking you through a process of learning more about you and understanding the power of your time and the value of time. That's the biggest thing we provide in all our education on the platform, is teach you how to take back your time. Right now,
Yes.
our time is being
Yes.
traded for dollars, and not much dollars these days. Not much dollars these days. Yeah, that. Oh, hey, that's what. Yeah, hey, that video. You got to watch. Even gets into that piece when it comes
Yeah.
to how things are. So are you a connector? Yes, we
Yeah.
are connectors,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to connect to you out there in the First to Change platform. We want to connect to you, and our platform is simply there for you to leverage, for
Mm-hmm.
you to use, for you to take advantage of, for you to get what you want out of it, so that we can revitalize our communities.
Yes. And you mentioned, there's two things I want to mention, and I'll get it back to you because you're on a roll there. I don't need to do much talking, but I came to Alabama as a result of visiting. One of my friends from Baltimore came by when I was living in Baton Rouge and invited me to a conference of black farmers right outside of, I think it's
Oh,
Montgomery. And they were telling us, they were sharing the story with each other on how their land, not their land, because see, land it was inherited from their great great grandfather, so that they didn't have a problem with their land, but they had problem with the government funding, helping to fund their harvest in a proper time, and their children leaving the home, the family business to go off to college, which Papa, Mom was glad that they went off to college. But they went off to college and didn't come back and support the family business. So as the generations got older and older and less in tune with the time and what must be done, then the government started moving in on that property. Not the property per se, but their property that they had on the land. I had one farmer tell us he had over 600 heads of cattle that they confiscated. Another one
oh
had
wow.
horses in Kentucky that they shut down his ability to raise the horses. And these guys was under a lot of stress. One had 3 heart attacks, another one had both of his leg amputated from all the stress. So I said, man, you guys got an old system of recouping on your harvest. You go to the middleman. But we got enough black truckers here. We got enough blacks that know about marketing. And then we got enough consumers in our community that is designated as food desert. Why not grow your
Yes.
crop
Oh
and
man, what a
let's
travesty.
organize and let's form a alliance where I would help you in your marketing aspect because I know people that's got trucks. You know, I'm from the Nation of Islam. We at one time had over $80 million in enterprise going. We had our own trucking system from our farms, from our canning factories, from our dairy farm, all that. We was delivering our own good. We even imported over 2 tons of fish, or 200 tons, I forget now, in 73 from Peru. We were doing business with Japan for clothing. See, we had all that going, but the government did not like that. So they brought in the alphabet boys on us, you know. But anyway, that's another story. But that's to show that we now, with the unraveling of this government, the unraveling of all the system, the monetary system is unraveling. The communication, as our president say, our news media is fake. Robert Kiyosaki talks about fake teachers, fake money, fake assets. So what we need to do together is come back to God way, and I'm just happy to partner up with you because you offer the arena that I was planning on doing, after we got the media platform up, because I noticed that the media, for us to have this opportunity to share with the world our intention to do better and to bring better to the community and bring about the need that we need your support. You support everybody else. Jerry's kid have you going to the bank getting money to drop on that. The Red Cross, the Salvation Army. So if we don't have our courage to change now, link in, I'd like someone to go ahead and do it. One of the brothers that's on the stream with me, go ahead and put that link in, because you can go to that link. It's two tabs I usually point out: the contact tab, where you put your information, then you give us ideas in the comment section of what you would like to see and how you would like to help. Then there's a donation tab, because we are 501c3, which is tax deductible. We need monies to put this revolution on. And the revolution is not with weapons, it's with what we are doing now. Communication is our greatest asset in a war, because I've been in the service and I know how valuable communication is in warfare. Business is warfare. That's understood among all ethnic groups. The Vietnamese came here from a fishing village and they dropped them off in Houston. They started fishing. Then they started selling the fish with their family members. Then they went into the community and revived old buildings in our community and started "You Buy, We Fry" lines around the corner, supporting them. But they were doing that for their family. And the black community saying, "Man, y'all coming in our neighborhood taking all our money, you won't give us a job." Well, the fish was there before the Vietnamese came. The community businesses
Right.
was there before the Vietnamese came. And one good thing, and turn it back over to you, but one valuable thing I learned from the Vietnamese: they never put $1 in a commercial bank. They had a cash house among a trusted elder that kept all the cash until they got their children through school to become financial in the financial world. Then they built their own financial institution. If you've been to Houston anytime within the last 10 years, you see that southwest side is populated by Asian financial institutions, businesses, and they are thriving there.
Wow. Wow. That's something here. I'm gonna finish up with this here. You said you dropped a few nuggets there, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them being that we as a people, we will buy what we want and beg for what we need.
Yes.
And we need this network. We need this program. We need these type of avenues to be able to get information out. You're receiving it. Those that are out there are receiving it. So we ought to plant seeds in this. The other thing too, and him has heard this. I'm get on my little soapbox here for a minute.
Yes.
Popeye's chicken, Popeye's chicken. We I watched that phenom. I'm sure it took place up there in Huntsville and
Yes.
all over Alabama. I watched it. I watched lines and lines of traffic throughout Miami, and I was actually coming from a gym one day. After about the third day, I said, "What are those lines?" And someone told me it was this Popeye's chicken sandwich that was just such a phenom. Now we were in those lines for up to 30 minutes. We were in those lines waiting for food. A couple of fights took place in the lines to make somebody else wealthy.
Right. Right.
We because of us as a people coming for them, we didn't advertise during that time. We did all the advertising, all the social media, battling with chicks and all that. I won't get in all that. But what we did was that we made Popeye's chicken advertising $65 million in
Yes.
15 days.
Right.
That's right, with an M,
Mm-hmm.
$65 million.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's time to plant seeds in our own areas where we can build on ourselves, we always hesitant to do it, but we'll give money to everyone else any day, every day of the week, and twice on Sundays. We got to be mindful of these things and be mindful of our dollar. respect dollar, and plant seeds where they need to be. We purposely, speaking of this, we're laying out here a filet mignon platform at a McDonald's cost to help you get to the level where you want to be. I don't see any advertisement from Popeyes talking about some kind of way to have you become an entrepreneur, buy one of their franchises to put it in the community. I don't see. Do you?
No, no. Hey, Joe. We're gonna bring you back, man. I didn't know how much time had elapsed because this is so smooth, man, so transparent. This conversation that's going on. See, we taking the competitiveness out of our different entities,
Oh, that's right.
taking the competitiveness out, and but I'm going to shut it down right now. But I want to mention again TCTCNOW.com. Go to that tab. We're gonna be hosting some valuable information on this channel. This is our news hour. This is our news studio. We need your support to keep it going. So Joe, you got closing remarks, man, because we're gonna get you back on, and your president, Sister Bev, she's got to be on
Oh
here,
yeah.
man,
Oh
within
yeah.
the next week, if not this week.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure she loves what you're doing, and we definitely love what you're doing, and we want to attack all wagons that are like-minded because we can't do this ourselves. It takes us. It takes that village. We are the village. Right now, we are about 60 plus strong in about 15 states, and I see Alabama getting ready to blow up. I see Georgia getting ready to blow up in the ATL area. We have strong membership there. So it's all about you. It's all about where you are. Now, if you want more, you're willing to share, to discipline yourself, and if you want that desire of your heart, join us, join the Courage to Change, join Black Wealth Consortium. We all one we're all in the same, and that's trying to make each other better.
Right.
Now, I love you all. I mean it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hey, thank you. Thank all Facebook friends, everybody that joined us. I'm just excited about going forward. And so I'm going to bid to you a good evening from the Courage to Change Now studio. And thank Dr. Joe Webb for being such a informative person on this show, man. You made my day.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay. Good evening. Peace.
Okay.
Au. Okay.
Yes. Woohoo.